Billboard Rewind. Billboard Rewind. Billboard Rewind. Hi, friends. This week on Billboard Rewind, we're dropping back to the week ending August 15th, 1992. It's a time when late summer road trips, movie soundtracks, and sleek pop hooks were everywhere. It was pure early 90s energy. I'm Mama Kay, and he's Billboard chart guy. Let's rewind and relive the soundtrack of that summer, shall we? The summer of 1992. How are you today?
I am doing very well. Technical difficulties put aside, we are ready to roll.
A little bit, but take two. We're all ready to go.
That's right.
Summer of 1992, I was heading into my senior year of college. So this is a very kind of an interesting time for me musically. I was I had been doing a alternative radio show. So I was delving deep into that type of music, more so than some of the pop and other stuff that we're going to talk about today. But great list. There's a few winners on my list, a few on the list, but I think we're going to have fun chatting about it. Tell me about your 1992.
1992. I was supposed to have been an adult at the age of 27, but like most men, very immature, and I spent a lot of that summer at bars and golf courses and not really getting a lot done with relationships or my career, but this group of songs is like you said, it's very interesting. I'm curious to hear your bonus songs because there was a bunch that looked interesting, and excited to get started with this. I'm looking forward to the bonus songs and kind of perusing that list with you too. But we'll get right into it. For it's me up first. So November Rain by Guns N' Roses was number 5 this week, and the week ending August 15th, 1992. And as a lot of people were heavy into the Guns N' Roses culture at the time. I will say straight up, I was not at that time. I am a much, much bigger Guns N' Roses fan now than I was when they first hit it big with their original album, Appetite for Destruction. And then this song coming off their Use Your Illusion 1 album. They had two. I can't even say that. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Say that 10 times. When this song came out, it was actually probably my favorite Guns N' Roses song at that time. Now, I have come, as I said earlier, around on a lot of Guns N' Roses. They're hits. I'm not cranking their albums out by any stretch of the imagination. But I do like a lot of their big hits. I just was not a fan at the time. I was going into college, or I was going into my senior year in college. I just wasn't into the heavier metal stuff in my life at that point. But this song is a departure, to say the least. It was a 9-minute song, almost 9-minute song. It was the era's longest song ever to break the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 at that time. I know that just kind of reading into it, Axl Rose was really percolating on this song for a while. He had been working on it in various forms as back to the early 80s, and he had to convince Axl and Duff a little bit to get them to buy into this premise with the big band orchestration, the strings, the sweeping arrangements, that real cinematic feel, which is why I think it caught my attention and I liked it. And I like that long, drawn out orchestration of the song. And then it kicks in with that guitar at the end, that real fast guitar. I'm a fan of this song. I remember also them performing it in 92 at the MTV Music Awards with Elton John, with a little bit of a crossover there. And that was I think they ended up releasing that for a while. I could be wrong, but it was a pretty big impact at that time.
And, you can go into all the chart stuff, but I did notice that they said this video, which was also pretty cinematic.
Yes.
It set streaming and view count records. This is pre-YouTube, and it was already surpassed 1 billion views. And then now, since obviously YouTube became a thing, it's past 2 billion plus now. So it is a huge video. Even now that MTV doesn't exist and play videos, it's still got a life long after it came out. So what do you think about November Rain and Guns N' Roses in general?
Well, let me give you the stats first.
Okay,
This song peaked at number 3, and it stayed there for 2 weeks. It stayed in the top 10 for 10 weeks, and it was on the Hot 100 for 30 weeks. This was the 6th and final top 10 hit for Guns N' Roses. And in doing some research, what I found interesting was these 2 albums, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, were released on September 17th, 1991. And the following week, Nevermind by Nirvana was released. So it's if you take a step back, you could almost see the change coming.
Right. Well, they didn't get their long last. It did debut, I think, number 1 and 2, the albums, but then Nevermind came and ushered in the grunge movement.
Yeah. So by this point, Mama Kay, I would say that I was kind of over Guns N' Roses. I loved Appetite for Destruction. A lot of people argue that that's the greatest debut album in rock history. Not sure about that, but it's tremendous. Then they followed up with GNR Lies, which had a couple of fun songs on. My favorite is I Used to Love Her, but then I had to kill her. I don't know if you know that one, but
sad to say I do not.
Yes, check that out. It's a fun song. November Rain, I would also say, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you agree, that this might be the last of the overblown power ballads.
I mean, I would have to actually sit and think about that and look at music charts to confirm that. But it was kind of putting a big exclamation point on the end of the heavy metal
/ hair
band, makeup band, all that. Although I used to just think how awful and ugly Axl Rose was. On a very shallow standpoint, in that he really could have probably used a little hair and makeup work, but that's just being a 20-year-old girl and being very shallow about what someone looks like when they're singing to me. I thought he had gross teeth. I was not a fan at all.
But if you think about how long the song is, if you think about the cinematic, you mentioned cinematic video, it was just overblown, the whole thing
with the rain coming down. I mean, it was huge.
And you could also hear, if you go back and listen, you could hear influences from songs such as Layla, and also you mentioned Elton John, Funeral from a Friend, into Love Lies Bleeding. There's parts of the song where you could hear some of those other classic rock staples within November Rain.
There's definitely a lot of separate parts of that song. I mean, being 9 minutes, it has the slow build, and it has the crescendo, and then it just kicks in really those last couple of minutes just with that, fiery, more traditional Guns N' Roses / guitar solo.
Yep.
But yeah.
So, I mean, it, again, for their last top 10 song, it was certainly a big song. Again, probably wasn't my cup of tea. I was, like I said earlier, I was probably done with this band.
You were over it, and that's where the point in which I circled back and started liking them a little bit more, which is funny because in the 80s, or late 80s, the Appetite for Destruction, where every teenage boy that I was in high school with loved that
played that album crazy. I was not a fan. Now, of course, being a sports fan that I am, I mean, and a Patriots, New England Patriots, Welcome to the Jungle is part of the lexicon of my life now. Hearing that, I think of the team coming running out onto the field, and I love Paradise City. Sweet Child of Mine has grown on me over the years. So those hits were definite. Now on the Use Your Illusion, I didn't know a lot of the songs when I was perusing the track list, although I do know the couple of covers that they did, which I remember really liking, like the Live and Let Die and the Knocking on Heaven's Door, which were both the covers that I feel like got more play than, and I have nothing to back this up, but I feel like I heard those on the radio and I didn't hear, other than November Rain, any other songs from that album. But again, I wasn't listening to a lot of hard rock music or hard rock radio, but I do remember those songs.
I think
they were good covers.
Yeah, and I think that there were a couple other songs that did make the radio. Don't You Could Be Mine, which I think was from the Terminator, either Terminator 1 or Terminator 2.
Probably on that soundtrack. Maybe.
Yeah. There was also a song called Don't Cry.
Oh, yes, I remember that song.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was 2 LPs. It was a big to-do when it came out. And it spawned a bunch of hits, but I don't think they ever kind of reached their heights again.
Well, they had a lot of drug use, feuding, ego problems in that band. And I remember the next thing you know is Axl Rose is on like Celebrity Fat Farm or whatever that show was on MTV. That's not the name of it. It was something like that.
Yeah.
Where the has-been celebrities go and try to lose weight because he had bloated up. I think probably after cleaning up a little bit, but yeah, no, I mean, that was a huge Guns N' Roses time, that late 80s, early 90s.
Yep.
It was shot
peak
to the moon and then big old fizzled down through the grunge wasteland because they lost all their momentum when that came.
For sure. Should we jump to number 4?
You go. Be my guest.
Well, number 4 song that week was Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh my God. Sorry,
there you go. Exactly. This song spent 5 weeks at number 1. For those who don't know it, and I can't believe anybody wouldn't know it, it's just a fun, silly hip-hop song. This was Sir Mix-a-Lot's only number 1. And this surprised me. I don't know if you saw this in your research. Billboard's Hot 100 of the 90s, so of the whole decade, this song finished number 30.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, I thought that was
higher?
I thought it'd be I thought it'd be further down the list, not as high as number 30.
Oh, I would totally disagree. I think I would think it might be higher than that.
Okay. This is really a song of its time. Has a bit of a novelty. We talked about novelty songs recently.
Yes.
A little bit of a novelty vibe to it. But it's on, my wife's hip hop mix still. It's on my hip hop mix still. So it's a classic from the genre. And 5 weeks at number 1, you can't argue with that. So the folks liked it.
Yeah, it was a huge hit, and I'll talk about this a little later too. I was DJing in a nightclub at this time, as well as on the radio, and the nightclub was more of a traditional nightclub. It had all kinds of music in a college town, and this song was on. Every night I worked, we would play this, and it was just a huge hit from the standpoint of longevity too. I think it generated over 100 million from licensing and publishing and royalties. The amount of times it has been used over the years since this song came out is insane. He didn't have really any other big hits. Sir Mix-a-Lot, his real name, aka Anthony Ray, but he had some smaller stuff. My Hoopty, I don't know if you remember that. Posse on Broadway, Jump on It. Those were a couple other ones that didn't not even close. So I really consider him a one-hit wonder.
Yep.
It is definitely a novelty anthem, especially from that time. And there was a lot of controversy because, it had some, bold lyrics about women's bodies and, focusing on the buttocks, but he defended it. And, he said that it was, kind of his pushing back on the media bias towards ultra thin figures. And he really wanted to kind of, celebrate the bigger bottoms. And I think it actually worked, because look what followed in the next generation was the big booty was in. So I think we can, thank Sir Mix-a-Lot, which, I should say, maybe I should blame him because I do not have a big booty. And I think when this song came out, I couldn't act it out in the dance clubs as they would do, it was a little kind of pre-twerking, but they would shake their booty, and I had nothing really to shake. So I enjoyed dancing to it nonetheless. It was I know his video was banned on MTV or restricted. I think they did that sometimes where you could only get it late at night because of the quote unquote sexual content and nature of the video, which I think is pretty funny. If you watch it, it's just a bunch of peaches, like big old peach butts, like, and girls and, bikinis dancing and whatnot on that. So we see a lot worse these days, right on the old broadcast TV. So it's a huge, I feel like it would be high on that 90s list. It doesn't surprise me that it's 30. I wouldn't have been surprised if you said it was in the top 20, because it is kind of one of those things when you think, especially that early 90s hip hop scene, Baby Got Back that's it. And then you even just say it now. It's comes right from that song, Baby Got Back.
Yeah, so, for sure. Yep. All right.
So that's what we got to say about that. Oh my God. That's my favorite part of the song, actually. When you hear that, you know what song's coming. And I don't know if you've ever heard the extended version, but it's like a 35-second intro, really, where they ended up doing the radio edit where it was just basically that Valley Girl voice saying, oh my God. But the long one is even longer. And
yes, I have heard it. Yes, do it. I went back and listened to it prepping for this. And yes.
Like a whole speech at the beginning.
That's right.
It's pretty funny. Okay, enough of that, Baby Got Back. All right, we moving on to number 3?
Yes.
All right, my turn. So the number 3 song for this week was This Used to Be My Playground by Madonna. And I think this is our first Madonna on one of our shows, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
It won't be our last, I doubt. This song is, was a song that was specifically created for the closing credits of the movie A League of Your Own, which I loved that movie. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that's a fun movie. Yep.
That is a fun movie. It had the old back Rosie O'Donnell, back when she was acting and not crazy. But yeah, no, it's a great movie. And that song, she was in it. Madonna was in it. She was actually starring in it. And she was kind of moved. This is a crazy year for Madonna, or this time frame. I'm sure we'll come across her 80s Madonna, where it was a little more pop and kind of bubblegum pop dance. And then, she really got into the edgier stuff. Now, this song is not that, but she definitely went into the edgier stuff in the early 90s when she started doing her acting. And, she did her erotica album, and she did her sex book, and she got more into the disco and the dance, like the Vogue type stuff. And, she had some good dance stuff in that time that was less of her 80s style and more of a little more club, which is kind of growing up with her in a weird way. Like in the 80s, I was younger, loved her Borderline, loved her, all those songs that were Papa Don't Preach and the fun Holiday. Yeah, much lighter. And then by the time 92 came around, and 93 for me especially, I was actually going to clubs in New York that summer and listening to a lot of Madonna. She had a couple of she had a couple of fun songs from that time. But this song in particular is a slow song that's completely different than a lot of her stuff. It was very lush and has live string arrangements. It's a little more nostalgic. It's very nostalgic, but somber in that it's kind of looking back into your childhood, or in the case of the movie, back to the playgrounds of your childhood, places, longing, memories. I don't dislike this song. I actually kind of have, if I'm in the mood, I really like this song. But sometimes, if I want something a little bit, it drags at times. So I kind of, it's a little repetitive. So I remember the video with the album motif where she's looking through in the pictures, and there was film, clips from the film in there. Right. But I did read when I was researching it that even though it was a huge hit for her, and you can get into that, she never really performed the song live until just last year.
Oh, wow.
An a cappella snippet during her celebration tour. She never really did it live. I mean, I guess with the theme of her concerts, it's pretty upbeat. So it would be a little bit of a drag, to come down into this song
right.
when you hear it. But yeah, no, it was a weird contrast to what was going on. She did launch her Maverick Records that year too. So she was having a big career adjustment during this 92 time, where she was really, she was doing the sex, the erotica, the movies, the new label, and then she had this song in the album from the movie. So it was kind of a contrast to that, which I find pretty interesting. But yeah, it's an all right song. It's all right. Like I said, kind of have to be in that chill mood to listen to the whole thing before I tune it off.
So let me be kind.
Okay.
This song was not for me. And I think I was just so used to Madonna bringing the hits and bringing the songs that were popular. So this wasn't anything that I was very interested in. Let me give you the stats, though. It was number one for 1 week, and it was actually the week before August 15th. So it was the week of August 8th. And ironically, it had replaced that week Baby Got Back. So as number one. I mean, you cannot argue with Madonna's career. 38 top 10 hits, including 12 number ones. I mean, maybe the song kind of threw me off as to my expectations of Madonna, or what I was hoping for from her. But at the end of the day, this would be a long way down the list of Madonna songs that I would throw on right now.
Yeah, I would never just put this song on, I don't think. I think part of my feeling towards it is better because I really like the movie and I saw it a lot, and I actually owned the VCR version of this. I love John Lovett in that movie. He cracks me up. So
the whole cast was great.
Yeah, it was a great movie. And I when I hear this song, I think of that movie. I think of the credits and kind of the more bittersweet part of that movie. And that's why I'll like it. But frankly, because it is a longer song that just kind of drags after a while, like it's perfect for the credits because it can play all the credits. But if you're driving down the car, I'll listen to it for maybe 1 minute to 2 minutes, and then I'm on to something else.
Right. All right. Well, we kind of agree. Yeah,
I think I have a fonder memory of it just because of the movie. But yes, it's not going to be my number one, not even my top 10 Madonna.
All right. Well, let's go to number 2. And earlier we had Baby Got Back, and now at number 2 we have Baby 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 by TLC.
I think we need to see how many songs in the history of pop music have the word baby in it.
That would be quite the playlist to put together.
thousands.
Yeah. So this song was from the debut album from TLC, Ooh on the TLC Tip. It peaked at number 2. Baby 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 spent 33 weeks on the Hot 100. besides this song, they had two other top 10 songs from their debut album. Ain't Too Proud to Beg went to number 6. What About Your Friends went to number 7. Across their career, they had a total of 9 top 10 hits, including 4 number ones, which was Waterfalls, No Scrubs, Creep, and Unpretty. I love this song, and I love this album. I actually...
Wow.
No, this is it's a fun period, like we talked about, Sir Mix-a-Lot and that song and that period. These guys fell into, whether it was En Vogue or whether it's SWV, SVW, I think it is. Really, R&B with hip hop included. I'm a big fan of their next album, which was their biggest album, which had Creep on it and Waterfalls. This is a fun, especially the other 2 songs that hit the top 10, Ain't Too Proud to Beg and What About Your Friends. This is a fun album to listen to. And Baby, Baby, Baby is a true slow jam, and really interesting and, in my opinion, excellent debut album from these guys. What are your thoughts?
I'm just kind of shocked that the Billboard chart guy is a big TLC fan. I like it. I like TLC a lot. I'm going to preface that right away. This song, however, to me is somewhat forgettable. In fact, when I saw it listed, I couldn't hear it in my head. I had to go play it to remember it. It didn't have any, it would not be one of the songs when I think TLC that I think about ever. But I love TLC, and I do love their second album much better. And, Creep, Waterfalls, No Scrubs, Unpretty, all better songs in my mind than Baby, Baby, Baby. Now, I do see where it was the trans, kind of where they started from and where they got to ultimately. This was ironically the first single that TLC had that did not include a rap verse by Lisa Left Eye Lopez. May she rest in peace. Unfortunately died in a car accident back in 2002 in Honduras. She was only 30 years old. But I enjoy early TLC. I mean, I enjoy that kind of, it's a little bit of the R&B hip hop, but it's also New Jack Swing. I really like that New Jack Swing stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about some of that coming up as well. They had, swagger for sure, their style, they had the big baggy clothes, but they had the condoms pinned to the clothing, which I always thought was interesting. But they were fun, and they were huge influences on, some artists that came after them. I mean, they influenced Destiny's Child. You mentioned En Vogue, even later on, Fifth Harmony, those girl bands that kind of had that swagger stuff going on. Salt and Pepper was a little bit more rap that came before them, but I feel like you can really see the transgression of that kind of female band music in hip hop. And that's a good comparison as well. Similar vibe, I would say. Yeah, they has. I mean, Salt and Pepper was a little, like I said, a little more rap, but it was, you can see where it goes, and then you get into this took it into more of the New Jack Swing, and then you had the Destiny's Child really come into the real more pop urban dance stuff. But yeah, Crazy Sexy Cool I liked that album a lot. And yeah, this song though, Baby Baby, again, didn't remember it. I couldn't place it. And then I was like, oh, okay, I remember this now. It didn't have that impact on me at the time. Who knows? But it's an all right. I find it a very forgettable song. But, if we ever hit, 95 and we get Waterfalls, then I'll talk a lot. Or No Scrubs from 99. I can talk that. That's one of my favorite songs. So
Let me ask you this. We're talking about TLC. So the song Creep is probably my favorite of their
okay.
songs. Which Creep song is your favorite? TLC, Radiohead, or Stone Temple Pilots?
Stone Temple Pilots.
Interesting. Okay. I would go with TLC.
Yeah, Stone Temple Pilots in a heartbeat, and then Radiohead probably next. It's just it was more my style of music at the time. So
Right.
I think, it depends on my mood, obviously, too. But yeah, Stone Temple Pilots, though, I love them. And I did a lot of kind of that type of harder alternative music stuff in the 90s. And maybe we'll come across that in the future. I kind of hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Number
right.
one. Here we go. Drum roll.
You have at it. Was it me? Oh, it's me.
You.
Oh, see, I'm waiting for you to go. Okay, well, we've officially, and we have got to number one, which is The End of the Road by Boyz II Men. I was trying to do a pun there and it didn't work out. Boyz II Men, End of the Road. Now talk about a slow jam. This is your quintessential slow jam. To me, this is slow dancing in a frat house formal. I hear this song or the end of a night at a bar. I these are bringing those nostalgic moments back to me. It actually never appeared initially on their debut album, and it had such commercial success that they ended up adding it later, which I had no idea. Which I thought was that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting myself. It was for the Boomerang soundtrack. That's where it was originally from. So the movie with Eddie Murphy, it was on that album, became huge, and they put it back on Cooley High Harmony, which is the album that was their debut album. And I'll let you get into how huge of a hit it was. I know it set a record for themselves at that time that they later broke for the longest run at number one. Obviously, that was, other later in 92, like Whitney Houston beat that, and they eventually beat their own record as well. But this was just a huge hit. And, a little bit about the band, their name, Boyz II Men, inspired by New Edition, which had, previous early boy band, Boyz II Men was their song that they had. And the one of the guys from New Edition, Michael Bivins, those guys are from Boston. These guys are from Philly. And he found them. He discovered them. He had joined Belle Biv DeVoe, which was an offshoot of New Edition. It's kind of like a linear, if you follow like the family tree, New Edition, then Belle Biv DeVoe with a bunch of guys from New Edition. And they really did the New Jack Swing sound, which I loved. And I loved that album. And then Michael Bivins discovered Boyz II Men backstage at a concert where they somehow got back there. Or I don't know how that all happened, but they played a song for him and he loved them. And he went on to manage them and produce them and really made one of the, biggest albums that this genre ever saw, including, huge hits like End of the Road and this one and Motown Philly, which to this day is one of my favorite songs of that era and that style for sure. And then they had other monster hits later. I'll Make Love to You. They did duets with Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day. I don't know if you remember that. Huge song. But yeah, it was a real beginning of an R&B mainstream bridge between R&B and the mainstream pop at the time that was going on in the 90s, which became very R&B heavy and urban heavy by the end of the decade. So this was kind of another one of those huge pinpoints of that time. So what do you think of this song?
Well, I'll say first off, what an incredibly talented vocal group. Amazing. The song spent 13 weeks at number one. Overall, 32 weeks on the chart. Boyz II Men had 10 top 10 hits overall, including 5 number ones, as you referenced. for me, understanding how talented they are, I could have been done with Boys to Men after Motown Philly, which I hold in very high esteem, as you do as well. But a lot of these slow jams, quote unquote, just don't do it for me. And they didn't after Motown Philly. But credit to them, they've had a nice career, and I would say at this point, our last episode, Mama Kay, I think I brought up the Spinners,
Right.
and what a great vocal group they were, and talked about all their hits. I mean, I would think at some point these guys might be Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy, based on the types of artists that are getting in now. So, props to them. They've a great career, but really, besides their original hit song, not for me.
Yeah, I think what they're seen as, their impact is seen as huge in the industry. I mean, as someone who was working in radio during the 90s, I wasn't working necessarily always in pop radio, but they definitely are seen by producers and the record labels and the program directors. They're held in such high esteem. So I don't disagree that they could probably get in because of their impact that they had. They won a lot of awards during this time. I think they swept at the Grammys one year. I know that this song, End of the Road, won Best R&B Performance by a Duo or a Group, and with vocals, and Best R&B Song for 1993 in the 93 Grammys for 1992. So it was, it was a monster. Again, Motown Philly, for me, much better song. This is more, I like this song. I don't love their fault that I'll Make Love to You, which I feel like is just kind of a follow-up to this song.
Yep.
It's very similar. I mean, the End of the Road was, I think it was about the death. I'm just trying to remember. I think it was about the death of someone that they knew. I'm trying to remember that story, but I can't, it's not something I came across when I was researching it again, but I remember from seeing documentaries about them that it was inspired by that. And so, yeah, they just massively grew after this album and this song, and became enormous. And again, I think their impact, looking at all the boy bands that followed not too long after this, which, we see that they had the shows about building of a boy band. They had obviously with, Backstreet and NSYNC and New Kids on the Block were already out there, but it was one of those urban boy band, phenomenons, and they had huge impact. So again, not always my thing, but I like Belle Biv DeVoe the best, I think, of all of them. But
right, I like that song Poison.
Yeah, Poison. And I just it's 8:00 on the watch, no time to got a date, can't be late, oh, the girl is gonna, sorry, I love that. I used to sing that in college all the time. But that's that New Jack Swing that I really liked, and this was more smooth, that smooth slow jam stuff that we've been talking about a lot. Yep. And it was a big song. So, all right, we're moving on to the bonus songs. And I know that you were excited to talk about these, and you get to go first. So what did you pick for your first one?
Well, I picked Life is a Highway by Tom Cochrane.
The original.
That's right. A country artist does this now, right? Or did this?
Yes, Rascal Flatts covered it. It was in the Cars album, which is why it became huge, and it became a huge hit again. So yes, but
the original
is great.
Got to peaked at number 6. The week we're talking about, it was number 7. Straightforward, fun rock and roll song by Tom Cochrane. He's from Canada. Highly acclaimed artist up there. He's won 6 Juno Awards across his career, which are their Grammys, and he is in the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. This song resonates with me as, at this time, I told you I was 27 and just kind of trying to figure it all out. There was a bar on the Upper West Side of New York on Broadway between 76th and 77th Street called Bear Bar, Bear. And it was a cheap, Friday night hang, throw $20 on the bar and you were set for the night. And at midnight every week, they would play this song and the place would go crazy singing along with Tom Cochran. And so it's a fond memory. The song has a fond place in my heart, hearkening back to, the early to mid 90s fun times that I had at the Bear Bar. I don't know if you ever made your way up there when you were in New York.
I don't. I spend most of my time down in the East Village or at work, which was it was the heart of Times Square pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. And other than rollerblading around Central Park, I didn't get that far until I lived on Roosevelt Island, which was another whole story. Yeah, no, this song's great. I love this song. I love the original. Yeah, this Tom Cochran. I always say the original because it became such a big hit again with Rascal Flatts. But I was a fan of this one when it came out, and it's a quintessential like summer driving song.
Absolutely,
it's like a road trip song, which is probably why they put it in the movie Cars. But it is a feel good song. It's like it's hard not to hear it and not want to like roll your windows down and let this, have the top down on your convertible and just crank it and sing along. It's a great tune.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. What's your first bonus song?
My first bonus song. So this, is just looking over the list as we were talking about of the top 40 this week. There's it's an interesting eclectic mix of everything from like some 80s holdovers into the newer grunge and, Chili Peppers and urban stuff, Arrested Development, Mary J. Blige, they're on there. But then you have things like Sophie B. Hawkins, you have the B-52s, you have Elton John. There's so many different artists like crossing at this time, which is interesting when you get these transition periods in music. And I feel like the early 90s, and I don't know if it's something about the new decade that always does this, because you had that in the early 80s as well. So I feel like this is kind of a theme with music in 60s into the early 70s. So this was another one, but I picked, and this is where we're going to kind of go into where I was a DJ on the radio doing alternative, progressive rock. I was Moon Kitty at this time. And one of my favorite bands during this period, and I consumed their two big albums like crazy. And this was Toad the Wet Sprocket and the song All I Want, which was 25 this week.
Okay.
And, I think that might have been its top position. So it didn't get any further than this. It spent, some time, like 8 weeks on the chart, but this wasn't a hit if you got off, pop radio and went over to the, what it was called then, which I'm trying to remember. It was a modern rock charts. I think they called it back then. I don't know. They the names so many times, but this is a great song. It was, the band Toad the Wet Sprocket. They had two big albums. This album was Fear, which had this hit, which was probably by far their biggest single that people would know. But they had a couple of other smaller hits from there. I think Walk on the Ocean, Fall Down.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played these two albums so much that sometimes I can't remember which songs are which albums, because I just played them in rotation all the time, probably on one of those mix where you can like shuffle the two things on the disc changer. So they had Fly from Heaven was a great song. Yeah, Dulcinea is their other album, and I love that. There's some great songs on there as well. Good Intentions was a song that they had. It was on the Friends TV soundtrack album, believe it or not. Friends had a TV soundtrack, which they released an album. And that song was on that. But All I Want is just a perfect kind of, again, summer, radio friendly, good hit hook. The band themselves came from California. They've been making music since like 1986. They got the name, which is a funny name, but it came from a Monty Python sketch, which they took as a joke, and it stuck. And you'll never forget when you hear Toad the Wet Sprocket, also, affinity, as someone who has an affinity for them. And if you've seen them in concert, everybody just calls them Toad, for short. Yeah, Toad. But they eventually broke up, but then got back together, and they have been touring now. I know this because I had a friend who worked on that tour about 5 to 7 years ago, maybe. But yeah, they reunited and they started touring in the 2000s again, and they've been releasing some more stuff. I know they just played up in Beverly, Mass this summer. I wish I could have gone to see them. I did not get to see them, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of the song. So, and I played the heck out of it on my radio show and on my personal CD player all the time.
Yeah, I like that song a lot. I would kind of lump them in a little bit with like a band like the Gin Blossoms.
Yep. Same time, same thing.
Yeah.
Similar thing that I have a likeness for them as well. Yeah.
Also the Jayhawks. Do you remember the Jayhawks?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, no, that's a good song. Good pick.
Yeah. So we can go to your second one.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go down the hip hop rabbit hole again.
Oh, boy. Oh no.
Believe it or not.
Wonder if we're in the same arena again. Go ahead.
I wonder if we're in the same state of Tennessee.
Oh,
no. Like Arrested Development.
Okay, good. Nope.
So
good though.
Arrested Development, Tennessee, from their debut album, 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of. This was another tremendous debut album from 1992, I believe. 3 top 10 hits from this album: Tennessee, Mr. Wendell, and People Every Day. All peaked at number 6, ironically, all 3 songs. And they never reached the top 10 again. I think they really only put out one other album before breaking up, I think in like 96. But this was such a different sound and vibe to hip hop. It was definitely, De La Soul-esque.
Yep.
Or a Tribe Called Quest sounding, very lyrical. But this song had a great video. It was a lot of fun, and for a debut album to kind of explode onto the mainstream like this did was a surprise. But it was a nice surprise. They also were the first hip hop group to win a Grammy for Best New Artist.
Yeah,
which was
they won a lot that year. I just remember them winning everything that year. Yeah.
So, I went out, got the CD pretty quickly, and I listened to it in prep for talking to you again, and I still like it. So, Tennessee by Arrested Development is my second bonus song.
Awesome. Yeah, I like this song. I will say I'm not it's not that I dislike them per se. It's just that I just never got into them. It wasn't for me. Again, this time in my life, I was dealing in a lot more modern rock era, and not so much in the hip hop, unless it was really, something that I played at the club. And Tennessee is a great song. And that's probably the only song that I really know by them, to be fair. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be something I'd be playing in the club though. It was, a good, I thought it was a good song. I liked it. I can hear it in my head. I sing along with it, but that's about what I think about it. Like, I don't really I wasn't a big Arrested Development fan. I remember when whatever Best New Artist, when they won the Grammys, whoever they were up against, I wanted to win, and they didn't. So I was probably mad at them. So, and I can't even tell you who it would have been, but I just know I remember being like, ugh, them again. And it's funny because the Grammys do that, where they get these artists that come out of nowhere, just skyrocket to the moon. They're the next big thing. And then a year later or two, you never hear from them. They kind of go away,
Well, yeah. Yes.
They wouldn't go off and do their own solo projects or do other projects with other people and have success. But I feel like they have that kind of trajectory a lot.
Yeah, I mean, ask all Springsteen fans about who all of us thought that The Rising was going to win Album of the Year in 2003, and all of a sudden Nora Jones popped
Nora
out of
Jones won
nowhere,
everything. Right.
won everything. Yes,
Yeah.
so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's a lot of that goes on, I feel, in those spaces with the Grammys all the time. And it's frustrating to the longevity of these other artists who are making music for 10 years or, and then it's just like the hot new thing. So sometimes the hot new thing I get just a little bitter about. And that was one of those years.
Right, don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. Let it go.
Into it. I just wasn't into that scene of music. So I just, I was rooting for the guys in the scene that I was listening to. So, but yeah, no, but that's a good song. I do like that song. It's the only song I probably know because it's the only song I probably liked of their songs. So
you should check out People Every Day.
Oh, I definitely know that song when you say it. I couldn't sing it or anything in my head, but I probably know that song for sure.
It was a kind of an ode to a tip of the cap to Everyday People by Sly and the Family
Yes.
Stone.
Okay. Yes, I do know that song. All right. Yep. And I like that song. I do. I didn't buy their albums. I didn't download them. They're not on any of my playlists to this day, but I do like that song if I hear it. All right, we're going to go to my second one. Now, I had to this was a tough choice. It came down to two songs that I almost got. I almost took Friday I'm in Love by The Cure, but I did not.
Right.
But so I went instead in a totally different direction and picked kind of talk about cultural impact. Another song that lives with us today, Jump Around by House of Pain. And this song was played in the club that I worked at all the time, and it is still played on, I don't know, every time you go to a wedding or you go to a basketball game, you're going to hear this in the arena. It was released in May of 92. It was the lead single from their album, House of Pain. It was produced by the DJ Muggs of Cypress Hill fame. And this band was actually, you could call them a one-hit wonder because they didn't have many other hits after this. But one of the lead guys, Eric Everlast Schrody, went on to have success in the band Everlast. And I don't know if you know or heard of them, but his big hit with as Everlast was What It's Like.
Yeah.
That song, What It's Like. But Jump Around. This is just a fun song, and this is, these guys, it's kind of crazy. They're these Irish American guys. Like, they're not, I think when the first came out, I thought they were a black group, but that was just whatever preconceived notions of not seeing the video and hearing the song and just the style of the music. But they ended up leaning into their Irish heritage quite a bit if you ended up looking at their album and their videos. And when they were on stage, they have shamrocks everywhere. They're always wearing green. They're kind of branding their hip hop, this Irish hip hop. It was weird. It's a weird combination, but they had they had this huge hit, and it just exploded, and it is a stadium staple, and it's a party starter. If you put this on, the party's gonna start. And it's been used all in movies, I think it was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Happy Gilmore and all over TV shows. And it still means the streams on Spotify every year. And it had I think brought really early, it kind of bridged a little bit of 90s hip hop with some rowdy energy, a little more rock kind of edge to it. And, it's lighthearted. It's lighthearted, but it's also, it's fun. It's fun. You can't hear it. You want to jump around. You got to put your hand in the air and jump around. That's what you do when you hear the song. So, and it's lasted forever, and I love it. It's one of those that I'll come with my girlfriends and we need to get the party started. It's a song you hear that at the beginning of that song, and it's time to jump around.
Time to jump around. And ironically, in the top 40 was also Jump Jump by
Yes.
Criss Cross, which I looked at because I love that song.
Well, I did too, and I actually dressed as Criss Cross for Halloween.
Oh my God.
In 1992 or 93. I had the little braids. Oh yes, we're going way back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a lot of jumping around.
You should post that picture instead of the witches that have it.
I would have to go dig it out. And that was before digital. I'd have to find. I don't know if I took one. I was working. It was my DJ night. I had a dress. We all in a costume, and I went as Criss Cross. I wore my pants on backwards and everything. But that's my second bonus song. So yeah, it was a fun little top 5. I didn't know what we were going to get, and a little mix of everything for sure.
Absolutely. Should we spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel. Spin the ChatGPT wheel. I have the prompt loaded, ready to go. So let's see what we got for the next time. Here we go. And it's thinking. Oh, excellent. I had to read it again. I was like, this, we did good. All right, ready? Week ending March 8th, 1986. We're going back into 1986. So
I like it.
We might have to pull in a guest for the next one if we can, someone who might be willing to do an 80s show with us. So
if that person's available, I'm sure he would. So
well, we'll see what we can do. There's a professional tease for you all.
Mama Kay, I wanted to remind the audience about the songs.
Thank you. And CN, I didn't do that in the top of the show like I was supposed to. Everybody who's listening to this, if you want to listen to any of the songs we talked today, I mean, not any of them, but the ones, the top 5 plus our 2 bonus songs each, I do connect the Spotify link in the liner notes of the show. So you can find them easily enough. Click on it, refresh your memory if you're trying to remember it, or if you've never heard it and you just want to discover some new music. They will be there, and they're there in the old shows too. I just kept forgetting to mention it. Thank you, Billboard Chart Guy.
It's my pleasure. That's what I'm here for.
Nah, thank you. Well, everybody, thanks for rewinding back to 1992, and we'll see you next time when we go back to the 80s, apparently. 1986, March 8th.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Mama. Bye.